Let's get straight to the point. Mocks are literally either now or right around the corner, and GCSEs are like within the next few months. And I just want to tell you that the time from now until GCSEs is going to go so fast, whether you're in year 10 or whether you're in year 11. But trust me, this video is going to get straight to the point, and we are going to be talking about revision techniques that you only need to use. If you use these revision techniques through your routine, you're going to do just fine and you will smash your GCSEs. And I'm not going to waffle on about revision techniques. I just want to be clear with you and give you all of the revision techniques that I used and the revision techniques that basically will guarantee you get all A stars in your exams, as long as you do it properly and as long as you have the discipline. Now, the first one that everybody rambles on about is the Pomodoro technique. You've probably seen this all across TikTok, where people have a timer, set it for 20 minutes or 30 minutes or 40 minutes, revise for that long, take maybe a 5-minute break, then revise for another 20, 40 minutes, however long you want to set your timer for, take another 5-minute break, then set another timer for 20 to 40 minutes, then take another 5-minute break, then a longer break or something like that. Anyway, when I use the Pomodoro technique, I used it quite a lot during GCSEs, especially for my mocks. Now, to do this technique, it really does depend on how you like to learn, whether you have a short attention span or a long attention span. It really did depend on me and the circumstance. For example, during nighttime, my attention span was very, very long because I used to stay up all night with caffeine. Again, this is very, very bad if you're a morning person. If you are a morning person, which is what I am at the moment, I wake up at 5 a.m, well, at least I try to, then again, the Pomodoro technique will be really, really good. So what I used to do in the morning, well, at the moment now in the morning, I do 20 minutes, take a 5-minute break, 20 minutes, 5-minute break, 20 minutes, and then a half an hour break. That's what I do currently, but I don't have any exams. But when I had GCSEs, I did around 45 minutes, 5-minute break, 45 minutes, 5-minute break, another 45 minutes, and a half an hour break where I did whatever I wanted. But the thing is, it's not the timer that matters. What you do in the Pomodoro session really, really counts. So maybe spend your first Pomodoro session reviewing through notes, reviewing through physics and maths tutor, reviewing through YouTube videos of that topic. Then your second Pomodoro session, you want to blurt. I'll come on to blurting in a bit, but you basically just want to use the blurting or scribbling technique. Again, I'll talk about that in a bit. And the last session in the Pomodoro timer, you want to do past papers. This is so crucial, and if you do a fourth Pomodoro set, then you want to review the past paper. So please, please, please try and do the Pomodoro technique. It's not for everyone, but it definitely did help me. Now, I want to come back onto past papers. They are so important. Now, during GCSEs, during mocks, I printed out tons of past papers right from 2011, I think, and even though they weren't the syllabus changed, they were very, very similar. And I'm going to tell you, if you've done every single past paper every single year, there's nothing that could come up in the actual exam that will surprise you, because I guarantee you every single question in your GCSE would have come up before, maybe slightly different wording, but it's exactly the same, more or less. The style, the sort of questions, the thing that will probably be different is the numbers that they put in. But just do so many past papers and you will be fine. So I try to do 3 past papers a day. And once I finished all of the past papers, I just kept repeating them. Just keep repeating them and you'll be totally fine. The next point is ditch your notes. I know this is something that is very, very tricky for a lot of people. What I found personally, I never touched my notes when I was revising. All I was doing was past papers. So there's really no point of even making notes, to be honest. You're literally just copying down information. It's more about active recall, and you need to sort of keep testing yourself, making sure it stays in your memory than just reading through your notes. So I'd say making notes is pretty much useless. Again, it's a very, very sort of thing, a very, very discussion. I don't know, what am I even saying? It really does depend on who you are. If you're willing to ditch notes, then ditch them, because they never helped me. But again, if you're the sort of person that likes them, then keep it. But again, they weren't helpful for me. Now let's talk a bit about blurting, which is what I did in my second session of the Pomodoro session, so my second 40-minute thingy, if you get me. Anyway, blurting is when you write down as much of a topic as you can remember. For example, let's say I've just finished kidneys, osmoregulation, etc. So if I wanted to blurt that topic, I would write down as much stuff as I can remember on a piece of paper about that topic. I usually do this after school. Once I've learned stuff from school, I write down as much stuff as I can remember. And then once I've finished that, I look at my textbook and write down everything I didn't remember. Now, what you have to remember is you do not have to be neat. This is a fast process for me, and I basically scribble as fast as I can, so I waste no time. So trust me, you can scribble, don't be neat, and do this technique. So once you've written down what you couldn't remember from your textbook or your notes, then you want to repeat the process again until you've basically memorized everything. This definitely helped because it was a form of active recall and it just got stuff in my brain. It's basically how I learned my biology, it's how I learned my Latin my Latin set text, geography, chemistry, any theory-based subjects. Now, the next tip I'm going to give you is flashcards. Please, please, please do flashcards. I couldn't stand paper flashcards. They were just a mess, so I used Anki. Anki is just... Paper flashcards is down here. Anki is like way up there. Because Anki implements spaced repetition, it implements active recall. It is honestly the best app for flashcards, hands down. And I'll make a tutorial on how to use Anki soon, hopefully. Maybe in the next few weeks, hopefully, if I can. Fingers crossed it will come out. But honestly, Anki is amazing. It's a lifesaver because it tells you when you need to revise. It tells you what you need to revise at a certain time. You can like track your progress on Anki through this like heat map grid thingy, and again, it's a lifesaver. A lot of GCSE students don't use Anki. It's mostly medics and medical students that use Anki, just because not many GCSE students know about it. But trust me, if you do use it at GCSE, you will do literally amazing because it's forcing your brain to memorize stuff. It's literally forcing your brain to memorize stuff and you end up memorizing it. The next tip I'm going to give you is do past papers, but once you've done a past paper, mark it, and every question you got wrong or every question that you didn't get full marks in, even if you got 6 out of 7, you want to write those questions down on an Anki deck or a Quizlet deck, however you want to do them, and write down the answer from the mark scheme and go through this Anki deck or Quizlet deck every single day until you know how to answer each question, because that's going to probably come up in your GCSE exam. If you don't know how to answer a question, you need to learn how to. Putting it simply, you just need to learn how to do it. And the only way you're going to do this is by looking at the mark scheme, looking at what the examiner wants you to write, and making sure you're ticking off the boxes. So please, 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 any question you get wrong in a past paper, put it in an Anki deck or a Quizlet deck and put the mark scheme for that question on the flashcard. It will be a lifesaver. Like I made a deck for chemistry with all the exam questions that I got wrong, and it turned out like so many of them came up in my GCSE. Obviously not the exact same question, but a lot of very similar questions, which was basically like just a copy and paste of the mark scheme from a paper that I did before into the paper that I was doing for GCSEs. So trust me, past papers is literally a heaven for GCSEs. It has everything that you need to know, so why don't you just do it? Now, the next point I want to give you is sort of English GCSE related. You're going to have to do a, You're going to have to do like a creative writing task. And I ended up getting nearly full marks. I was 1 or 2 marks away from full marks on that question, which was out of 40. Now, for that, I'd really recommend reading. Read as much as you can. It doesn't have to be novels, but like take inspiration from like people online. Look at what people online have done. Read descriptions of sort of like woodlands, forests, marketplaces, graveyards, because they will probably come up. I'll put a few pictures on the screen right now. You're probably going to be expected to describe one of these images, and so make sure you're able to describe these images, because I remember one of these images that I'm showing right now was in one of my GCSE exams. So please, please, please learn how to describe these images. For example, you can describe the trees as like the branches like barbed wires. Make sure you describe this, like the colors you see. Look at color charts. I'm going to put a color chart here right now. For example, the lapis sky, or the honey sun. The honey sun treacles light, so and so. Instead of saying like the green grass, maybe choose a different word for green, the emerald grass, or the lime grass, or the apple grass, things like that. You don't just like say the green grass, or the blue sky, or the yellow sun. Maybe think of different shades of the color, because that really does help. Another tip is please, please, please write in present tense and stick to the present tense. Don't shift to the past tense, then the present, then the past. Let's just stick to the present tense. For example, the two sentences. The moon looms over the barren bodies, or the barren land. The moon looms over the barren land. That's sentence one. Then some people say the trees whispered quietly. Now, what's bad about that is you've switched tenses. So instead, keep to one tense. For example, the moon looms over the what can I say? The body smeared with rotten flesh, while the trees whisper in the cool summer breeze. Something like that. And then maybe use alliteration, maybe use sibilants, etc. Another tip I give you is you can use inspiration from the comprehension you're given, or from the passage you're given. For example, you're probably the picture you're going to be asked to describe is going to have some links to the passage you would have been given already. So maybe throw in a few verbs that they used in the passage into your writing, because you can take inspiration, but whatever you do not plagiarize, because yeah, that's bad. Okay, anyway, that's the end of this video. I hope these tips have helped you. If you want me to do like subject specific advice, I can maybe make a video on like how I got a 9 in biochem, physics, etc., and make a video dedicated to them. Let me know your thoughts. But thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you're gonna use some of these tips. It would mean a lot if you guys could go subscribe to my channel. But yeah, have a great day, guys. See you soon in my next video. Bye.